Hi, welcome to KXAM Plus. I'm your host, Esmeralda Zamora. Thank you for being patient and waiting for us to connect here if you're watching us live. We have our Nick's First Warning weather segment with our KXAN Chief Meteorologist, Nick Bannon, and we're going to talk all things spring forecast. We're getting a spring outlook, you would say. And with me is, again, Nick Bannon. Nick, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. You know how you're never supposed to be arriving at a party like right at the same time that it starts, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be fashionably late by a few minutes. That's what we tried to do today.
Yeah, with your polka dot tie, very
Yeah, thank you.
fashionable.
I mean, people see it up close. There you go. You know, it's
It's
fun.
it's fun. It's giving cakes and plus and
Vibes.
spring, right? Because we're entering spring.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to talk about today is the spring outlook. Spring begins, meteorological spring, on March 1st and lasts through the end of May. And it's usually our wettest and stormiest season. So we've gotten a brand new outlook from the Climate Prediction Center about what to look ahead for to spring. But I want to start by diving into March 1st. March is the first month of meteorological spring. And along with the spring outlook that just came out, the March outlook got an update as well. This is the second to last March forecast that we'll get. The final one comes out the day before March begins here, so not too long from now either. But from a rainfall perspective, which is generally the thing that people care about the most because we really need the rain, the drought's only been getting worse or staying the same here over the last few months. Not much of an improvement happening. But it's looking like we're going to be near normal for rainfall in the month of March, with the drier than normal conditions staying off to our west. And then from a temperature perspective, pretty high odds of us being warmer than normal. So a warmer than normal March with near normal rainfall. Near normal rain wouldn't be that terrible. It's not one of our driest months, but it isn't one of our wettest either. It's in the middle there, the sixth wettest month of the year. You can see how our normal highs go from 69 at the beginning of the month to 77 by the end. Our normal lows go from the upper 40s and nice and cool and comfortable to the mid 50s by the end of March, although 50s still not bad for nighttime lows. And then as we get into the rainfall there, 2.88 inches of rain is an average March. So that makes it our fifth coldest month and our sixth wettest month. So a fairly middle of the road month for March, Esme.
Nick, if you wouldn't mind doing a little Uno reverse and going back to that first graphic that you showed us.
All right.
This is an outlook, a recent outlook that we have received. But what did the first one look like? Did it compare to this?
So this is both the most recent and the first
Okay.
more official outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. They basically issue one main one here about 2 weeks
weeks.
before that month begins to give you a little teaser. And then they'll issue their final outlook for the month ahead the day before that month begins. So we call this the preliminary outlook. And then what we usually do is we'll share both. We'll share the initial outlook, the one that came out here last week, and then we'll share the final outlook that comes out the day before a new month begins. Sometimes they're different. Sometimes especially
they change a lot, right?
yeah, they can, especially if let's say you've got a pretty good sign of a wet pattern at the beginning of the month. If that were to hold true, then that could sway the whole month, especially if you're looking for 2-3 inches of rain in the first week of a new month.
Mm-hmm.
Then once you can tap into that forecast signal and our computer models jump on board with that potential, then that could impact where the whole month ends up. But if the month starts dry, it could still end wet, and that would not necessarily change the outlook so much. So these can change. I have seen lately the rainfall outlooks not changing a ton, but if they do, they go from a near normal expectation to being drier than normal. And then our temperature expectations of being warmer than normal. That's been the case for a lot of the last few months. So these often don't change as much as maybe the rainfall outlooks do. So these are more consistent. These are generally more accurate. But the reason the rainfall outlooks are less accurate is because you can get a month's worth of rain here in a couple of days if a storm stalls over the area. And that could ruin the predictions for the rest of the month, even if the rest of the month is still mostly dry. So it gives us a good heads up about a potential pattern for next month and then the season in general. but the forecast accuracy continues to go up as we get closer to the beginning of that month or that season.
And Nick, what is normal for March? What is a normal March going to look like for
Yeah,
us?
so that's where we start in the 40s and end in the 50s for lows, and our highs start in the 60s and end in the upper 70s for highs. Now, we typically gain a decent amount of daylight during the month of March, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of daylight or so per day. So we gain more daylight. That allows us to warm up as well. You could see where we rank as far as the coldest and wettest months. It's middle of the range there. But 2.88 inches of rain in March is quite a bit wetter than a usual February, which averages less than 2 inches. So we go from the driest month of the year, February, to sort of a sixth wettest month of the year, which is March. So that's quite a jump as we typically start to see more active storm track, and that brings more rounds of rain and potentially severe weather into central Texas.
And spring runs from March through May, right?
Yeah, spring, March, April, May, right. Meteorologist, as we've mentioned every time we do a seasonal outlook, we break the seasons up into full month chunks. So we're not looking at the position of the Earth related to the sun. We're not talking about the equinoxes and that sort of thing and the solstices and all that. We're just looking at the full months because it's much easier to compare full months and that full March through May stretch of 1 year to the March through May of a previous year if you're comparing the exact same dates. If you start dealing with the astronomical seasons, then those dates aren't the same each year. Then it becomes a much harder comparison looking at one season to the previous version of the same season. So that's why, meteorologically speaking, we look at those full months. And you're right, yeah, we did get the spring outlook, which in some ways mirrors the March outlook with us looking for near normal, right?
Yeah.
And then drier than normal to our west. And you can see the drier than normal conditions surround the Four Corners region of the U.S. And then you get closer to the Great Lakes region and south of it, looking wetter than normal there. And we are in neither drier or wetter, looking near normal for rainfall. The exceptions can be that sometimes all it takes is one storm. Right? All it takes is one storm for a hurricane season to be memorable, even if it wasn't busy as a whole.
Yeah.
All it takes is one winter storm in the winter that brings snow, sleet, or freezing rain for that winter to be remembered by that storm, even if the winter as a whole was warm and dry, right? So you can get a significant rain event during the spring that can make for a much wetter than normal spring, even if the majority of the spring was near normal. So there's always exceptions to these, and these outlooks do their best based on the pattern, but sometimes one storm can throw it all off.
Yeah.
So there's the rain outlook, and then the temperature outlook, warmer than normal as well, not just for us, but basically the southern half, almost 2/3 of the United States looking warmer than normal.
But it looks like we're in between warmer and near normal in our area.
Yeah, and so the general idea between the way these colors work, it's all about shading. And the darker the shading you go, the higher the odds. It doesn't necessarily mean the warmer you are, although it often does, but it means that the odds of being warmer than normal start to go up. So near normal here, the odds are pretty much equal that you would be either a little colder than normal, a little warmer than normal, or right on, right? And then the cooler than normal here is fairly obvious. There's at least light, weak odds leaning toward it being cooler than normal, meaning the odds of it being cooler than normal are higher than the odds of the other two options, near normal or warmer than normal. But then you go into the warmer than normal categories and the darker shades indicating higher probability of being warmer than normal. But it is not a guarantee that you get warmer than normal, although the darker the shades you get, the likelihood goes up. So it becomes almost a guarantee to be warmer than normal in the southwestern U.S., where the odds are even higher than here.
And what does that mean as in temperatures? Warmer than normal being like 90? Are we hitting triple digits?
So not necessarily triple digits.
That looks comfortable.
Yeah, this is not terrible, although we do start to kick up the humidity in a big way in the spring season.
Yeah.
So these are where the average highs are in the spring months in Austin at Camp Mabry. Average high in March, 73. Not bad.
bad.
April, all right, a little
Pushing
muggy,
it.
a little humid. And then by May, average highs of 87. That's when you start to see more 90s showing up. So
That's when
while
you
the
know
average is,
summer is coming.
yeah, I mean, it's right around the corner really from May. And the more storminess you get and the wetter the ground is, the more humid the air is going to be, just as a general rule of thumb. But you can see quick warming as we head through the spring season, and it comes with some rain too. Interestingly, March here is wetter than April. So we go from a dry February to a wetter March to a slightly drier April, and then things really ramp up for us in May. I mean, May is doesn't even have a close second as far as being out on its own there in terms of being the wettest month of the year.
What did our May last year look like?
Gosh, now you're asking nuggets that I have not looked at. It won't take me long to get there as long as our Wi-Fi in here.
I don't remember it being too rainy last May. I feel like it was July and June.
From my memory, I think we ended up with somewhere around 6 inches of rain last May, which was a little wetter than normal,
Yeah,
but
that's
not
more.
unusually so. Let me pull it up now, though. Okay, we had 6.59 inches of rain last May. So it was about an inch and a half wetter than normal.
That is.
So it was wet.
That's awesome. We need
Yeah.
the rain, so hopefully this May reflects that, or even
Yeah, I mean,
goes
and
more than that.
what we'd love is if the rain was just spread out a bit more. Our lakes do better with runoff that runs off because the ground gets saturated and then it heads into our streams, creeks, and rivers, and then lakes, right? But the aquifers right now are hurting more than our lakes are. Just trying to pull up the drought map here. Here's the statewide view, and then here's our local view.
Yeah, we are in extreme drought.
We are, up near extreme, 3 out of 4 for most of the area. But what we need for the aquifers to improve, that's where we're hurting as far as groundwater goes, is for just a lot of steady rain without a lot of runoff. Because if you get runoff, then that water heads into the streams, creeks, and rivers, and eventually lakes. If you get a steady soaking, then the ground can absorb it, soak it in, and then it heads into those underground aquifers better. So 2 different types of rain needed for 2 different types of water sources. The lakes are doing fine. The aquifers need more of the rain. And certainly any place could use some rain, but it's the aquifers that need it the most.
I have a question, and you can debunk this if it's not true, but I heard that when we get more rain during the springtime, it makes our summers cooler than they would normally be.
Yeah, typically because you've got more liquid in the ground, and then the sun's energy is spent evaporating that liquid rather than heating the ground up. So the more rain you've got in the ground, the wetter everything is, the lower the temperatures are in the summer. That being said, if you have a real wet spring, while the air temperatures may be down in the summer, the humidity is higher. So it may actually feel worse because of the humidity in the summer versus the air temperature being hotter, but the air being drier. So
what would you prefer, heat or
it's
humidity?
tough. I'd probably prefer just the heat.
Yeah.
Because then
dry
at least you're
heat?
not as sticky and gross. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I would stay inside either way. So
Either way, okay. So what does it matter? You're just inside of the air conditioning. Maybe a KXAN poll about heat or humidity for the summer.
That would be fun.
All right, put that on your to-do list.
Let me put it on my to-do list.
We also have the beginning of severe weather season with the beginning of March too. I know we've talked about this a few weeks ago. The National Weather Service can measure severe weather incidents, clusters of severe weather
Storms.
one day and then another day, and then or breaking them out in different ways. And in this particular stat is based on the coverage area of the New Braunfels radar. So they're able to see here, okay, we averaged 32 incidents of severe weather in the month of March in the coverage area of the radar. And severe weather is hail, damaging wind, or tornadoes. The number of incidents goes up a little bit in April. Even if our rainfall averages are down, we may get still more severe storms rather than just regular storms. And then the number of severe weather incidents goes way up, almost double April to May once we get there. Not quite double, but almost. So May is our most active month for severe weather. It's our wettest month of the year on average too. And it's certainly a month to be prepared for, but don't sleep on March and April either. Those can get particularly stormy here. And we want you weather aware and weather prepared. And you and I have talked about this, our KXAN weather app, great download to have.
Yes.
So severe weather season begins in March. In general, storms increase in frequency with each passing week through March and April before peaking in May. Now, the severe weather season doesn't just end in May, but it does drop off significantly once we get into June. There's usually a fairly quick drop off early to mid-June, usually as high pressure starts to slide in. That sinking air prevents storms from bubbling up as much once we get into June. But it doesn't just stop. And remember, you can get severe weather any time of year here in Central Texas. This is just when it's most concentrated.
And severe weather, I know you mentioned, is like tornadoes,
Large hail.
large hail. But sometimes our viewers think severe weather, storms, showers. Can tornadoes and hail happen without showers and rain?
I don't know of, in theory, I suppose there's not many storms that you get with a tornado without any rain.
Yeah.
At least in the vicinity. Same can be true with the hail. You're not going to have hail really without the rain nearby. It's possible you can get severe level wind damage without a storm nearby, especially if the rain evaporates, but the winds are able to come on down, although it would be rare. And that would be more of a high wind event separate to a severe thunderstorm event. So you usually get rain. Excuse me. I thought the question you were going to ask is about the frequency of lightning, because often people will see that there's a lot of lightning and wonder if a storm is severe because of the amount of lightning in it. But lightning is actually not a qualifier for whether a storm is severe or not. It's large hail, inch in diameter or greater,
Wind.
58 mile per hour wind gusts or stronger, or the presence of or an expectation that there is a tornado within a storm. Those are the three criteria. You can get a ton of lightning, heavy rain, and the storm is not severe because it doesn't have those three: wind, hail, or tornado. So you still have to treat storms with lightning and thunder. Obviously, they go together.
Severe.
Treat them seriously because they can still do some damage. They can cause house fires. Lightning, of course, danger to anybody who would be out in it. But the severe criteria is different from the lightning count.
And what should families keep in their homes during this season?
Yeah, weather radio, a good thing to have. Many people have come to realize that over the last year when we've had storms, flash flooding in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Having a way to stay informed is key. And that's not just up to us. It's not just up to the National Weather Service. You have to play your own role in being weather aware and weather focused and weather observant and know, oh, there's something coming. I should find a way to get informed. I should turn my phone on and the silencer off in the night if I'm expecting bad weather. It may be inconvenient. Some of those alerts may go off in the middle of the night that are close to you but don't necessarily affect you as directly, and then you think, gosh, I've lost some sleep. But
you
it's
also never
better than the
know.
alternative, right?
Right.
Which is sleeping through an alarm that could have saved your life. So having our weather app, having Warn Central Texas set up for your notifications, having the weather radio tuned to your area with the settings as you desire. Those are great steps. And then knowing a place to be should we have a high wind event or a tornado, which is interior room of the lowest level of your home, so that you can take yourself and your family in there, and then putting an emergency kit of some kind in there, bottles of water, chargers, that sort of thing, good things to have. But, we've got all of this, not just this chat here with all of our breakdown of the spring outlook, but previous discussions on severe weather, the severe weather season, and the things to have. That's all under the weather and traffic tab on KXAN.com. Just click on weather blog, and we're just going to keep gradually providing little nuggets of information to get you all set to go for severe weather season. which is right around the corner.
Yep. And for any of the households that don't have cable in their homes, our KXAM Plus streaming producer has done a great job of putting weather on our KXAM Plus app when there is severe weather or incidents happening around Central Texas. So remember that is always an option and it's completely free.
Yeah, that KXAN Plus app, what we'll be doing more of this severe weather season is meteorologists dipping into that weather stream to provide updates in between our TV updates that we'll be doing too. So there'll be more ways to get our coverage here, more than ever before, really, this year.
So if you ever need to log in or listen to Nick talk about weather, KXAM Plus is the place to do it.
And it's free download, as you mentioned. And that's on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, and Samsung TVs.
There you go.
Did I miss one?
No, you got them all.
Got them all. All right, good.
Expert. Well, Nick, thanks so much for joining us again. All of this information is also on our website, KXAN.com, or again on the KXAN Plus streaming app. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Esme. Thank you.